I don't want to be dramatic, but I think a lot of people are going to really like this lens. If you are new to this channel, my name is Shannon and I am a full-time photographer in beautiful British Columbia. Whether you're here to learn, be inspired, or simply enjoy some stunning visuals, you've come to the right place. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this. Now, before we go into the field, I need to talk about this. This is the new 50 to 200 2.8 lens by OM System. And I've had my hands on this for a little bit now, out taking it in the field, and I'm going to show you what amazing shots I can get with this. Who is it intended for? All the different features. Now this 50 to 200 2.8 is the first of its kind. It weighs 1,075 grams, which is 2.37 pounds. So it's very light. Now on the lens, it has a full range for autofocus, or you can switch it from 3 meters to infinity, which is 10 feet to infinity, or you can go on the closer end of the spectrum and do 0.78 to 3 meters. So it's got autofocus or manual focus. You can turn off the image stabilization. It also has some presets and you can turn off and on the sound when it comes to activating those presets. It's got some preset buttons here to recall, and it's got a set button right here. Now it does feel really nice in the hands. Everything looks really pro. The grip and the rubber here feels really nice to the hands. It's got a very short throw to go from 50 to 200. It's just a quarter of a turn, really. Now it's got a thread size of 77, which is great if you wanted to put polarizers or ND filters on there. So with the polarizer, you'd be able to get some really nice shots with that. Now I tested just the lens without adding any filters to it, just to see what it would do in the field. Now a cool feature right here is a little window on this lens hood. Now the lens hood, you can orientate it so that this little window is on the bottom, and this is a great feature. So if you have a polarizer in here, you can actually rotate it so you're not reaching on the inside, touching the glass. OM System also sent out a 2x teleconverter, and that brings this 50 to 200 to 100 to 400, which is an equivalent for full frame as a 200 to 800. So that'll give you huge reach right here. So if you had this paired with a 2x teleconverter, you're getting everything from 100 mils for full frame to 800. Now an 800 is not going to reduce the light that much. It's going to bring it just to 5.6, which is an incredible advantage for something so light. So it's got a 5-axis sync image stabilization in here and gives you up to 7 stops of stabilization in this lens, which gives you incredible control. Now this makes it 2 times lighter for a comparable full frame setup. So a 400 2.8 or an 800 5.6 setup is going to be twice as heavy as what we have here. And it's over 3 times lighter than a 100 to 400 2.8 equivalent. So the big thing about this is how light it is for what it can offer. Now it's IP53 certified, so it seals against rain, dust, and freezing cold. Here on the end, you can actually see that there's a weather seal, there's a gasket all the way around. This is a multi-coated lens. It's got the 02 coating to minimize ghosting. It's also got the fluorine coating to protect it against scratches, water droplets, or dust. Now this lens supports 50 frames per second at continuous autofocus. This lens gives you 1.5 times the magnification, But if you put on a 2x teleconverter, this will give you 1x magnification. And you can also do focus stacking with this lens. As you can see, the barrel does not change. Everything is internal, and it's got excellent resolution for the entire zoom range. And that 0.2 coating also reduces lens flare. So most of what I'm going to be doing is photography and showing you those images and behind the screen. I'm going to be using a monitor and saving to an external hard drive here so that you can see in real time what it is that I'm shooting, all the different settings, that sort of thing. I did switch over to video a few times just to see what it looks like, how sharp everything is, and some of the lens flare that you would get if I were to film into the light. And then with that 2.8 f-stop, you get really nice creamy backgrounds and foregrounds. This is also a great portrait lens. So I had my wife take a few photos of me, and she even got some close eye shots because of that macro capability. So thank you OM System for sponsoring this video, for allowing me to play around with this camera equipment. That's enough specs. Let's get out into the field and see what it is that I can capture with this lens. Okay, I'm out in my front yard here. My wife planted all these wildflowers, and it's a little later in the year, so what's nice is that there still is some flowers. So what I'm planning on doing is taking you guys out into the field, showing you some of the lens settings, and I'm gonna try and record through this as well. I've got a 2x teleconverter married with this lens. Obviously I can take it off, they can divorce, but then they get back together and it's beautiful. So I can get really, really close up to these lizards. They're not native, and they blend in so well to some of the dead grass in through here. So far, my first 5 minutes with this, after getting it today, has been just epic. Now I'm hand holding this video recording that's coming out of the OM System and this lens. I'm not using any post-processing for stabilization. This is out of camera, and it's being played back at 24 frames per second, even though I recorded it at 60 frames so I could slow it down to half speed. But understanding the control that we have here, just handheld in video, is a huge perk with this system if you are looking to do some video, not just photos, but video. Now I have the 2x teleconverter and I'm zoomed up to 200. So that's an equivalent to 800 millimeters on a full frame camera in video. And look how stable it is. Now I can get as close as 0.76 of a meter, which is 2.5 feet. Pretty close to a lot of subjects. Good morning, everyone. I saw an owl chasing after, looked like two gray squirrels. I've got a monopod here, and I've got my Insta 360. I saw the owl fly up into one of these trees right here. There's some poop splatters here. So there is poop right here, and these branches is the perfect spot for an owl to roost. It's all about patience. The next thing is like hearing any other birds and stuff squawking. The sun is starting to come up and it's starting to get bright. Just like that, I found him. It's right there up in the tree. Now this is a barred owl. They're quite common around here, and they hunt everything from rodents to fish, crayfish, which I believe that's what this one is looking to grab. There are some trout in this little creek here, and I have seen them grab some of those before. Now it's pretty dark and my shutter speed is at 6/40th, so capturing it in flight, I'm not going to get anything super tack sharp. I do love seeing the wings blurred a little bit. Now I do wish that OM system would indicate how many frames per second each one of these icons indicate, because you have to actually go into the menu to look it up. Sometimes I'm shooting like 50 a second, and I kind of want to be around the 20 mark. Up on one of the branches right now, and I'm right by this creek right here, and it flies down and grabs crayfish out of here, and the crayfish can be pretty big. I've seen them eat them up in the branches. It's pretty cool to see. Crucial during this time of the day, especially in the woods, is having enough light. Now I have a 2x teleconverter, but that will close down the amount of light that reaches the sensor. And oh, he's fine. He just went up to here. Now I'm photographing raw. Before, when I was in the garden, those were actually JPEG photographs. They were the fine, large file JPEGs. So I learned my lesson, I switched it over to RAW, but the one thing I forgot was continuous autofocus. You can see up in the top right-hand corner here, it indicates that I'm on single autofocus. And it's a good thing I pushed the back button many times to get the shots that I did, because I screwed up. Now, unfortunately, I didn't notice this until like 2 days later. So it's now on continuous autofocus. That's what I would have switched to. It's funny because I was more concerned about it being on bird mode, not like some other type of mode. Now you can see my ISO is maxed right here, even though I bumped up my shutter speed to hopefully capture the action of this flying owl. I mean, I did get these shots, but none of them are really that sharp. Now the owl landed a little bit further down the creek, and a lot of the times I give it space, 15 minutes or so, and I walk in a little bit slow into a new position. Now here is my shutter speed options here, and you get this when you go into the menu settings where you can actually see how many frames per second you can shoot on these options. And so I really like sticking to 20 or 25. But since I knew that the owl was flying around quite a bit, hunting and diving into the creek, I bumped it up to 50 frames per second. Now I'm sure if I was on continuous autofocus, I would have nailed this one, but I screwed that one up. That was amazing. Here's my setup here, and it was just flying down into the water to grab crayfish. That was amazing. Now I left this park to head home for about 30 minutes to see my son off, and then I came back down and this owl must have been bathing in the creek, because here it's just grooming itself, which I've seen it do many times in the past. So I would have caught some really cool moments down in the creek, but hey, I was happy to be able to capture this little morning wash routine and capture some fun little shots here. Now, a lot of people are worried about high ISO, and yes, this is a really dark environment and my ISO is quite high, but with so many programs out there to remove noise, add some sharpening, you can get away with so much in camera. And so I like to use DxO, their Pure Raw 5 program. Topaz is also a great one, and then Lightroom now has got a great denoise. So you can do so much with the low light levels. Good morning. There's a whole family of raccoons up in this tree, and there's just so many branches right now. It's been a long time since I've seen a whole family of raccoons. I think they're down in this creek as well, looking for crayfish. There are fish down in the stream. I'm not sure if my Insta360 could spot the raccoons. So hopefully if these raccoons get out onto a branch or something, maybe I can get a cool shot. Now there's so many branches in the way. I was hoping they were going to get into position, or I could get into a position where I could get a clear view of their face. Oftentimes families of raccoons will do things together. They'll climb, they'll look at someone kind of together, piling up on top of one another. So I was hoping to get sort of a cool family photo. Now I am shooting from a monopod. That's because I've got an Insta360 connected to it, as well as I got my monitor. So I do get some nice stable shots, which is great when you're zoomed way in to try and capture these guys, especially up with so many branches. But I haven't seen the owl yet. I'm just gonna give these raccoons a little bit of space and maybe they'll come back down. They're always fun to photograph. Looks like the raccoons are coming down the tree right now. There's so many branches everywhere over here. So there's some of these other trees that have green leaves. Oh, they're getting quite low. Try and see if we can get some more shots. Now, because of the image stabilization that this lens and camera has, it doesn't matter whether you have a monopod or your handheld. Look how smooth this footage is of just me holding steady the camera and taking some photos. So I'm up at the top of this bluff right here. We got this incredible view, and it's warm today. I thought it was going to be a little bit cooler, and I didn't even wear shorts. But it's nice to have a camera and a lens that's super light, even though I've got the monitor up top and the heavy battery. But this is perfect actually for backpacking, hiking up through the woods. And you really could use this for a lot of wildlife. I think when I came up here, I thought, I wonder how it would work with telephoto landscape shots. And it crops in pretty good. There's some really nice farmland way down there where you got some like nice gold from, I don't know if it's hay, barley, whatever it is that they're growing. And some green areas, whether it's corn, cabbage, whatever the farmers are growing these days, you can get some really nice telephoto shots. Downside is with today, it's quite smoky. A camera like this, with this lens, is great for some of those wildlife moments and telephoto landscape shots. Now, if you ever wanted to get a bigger or a wider shot, you just stitch your images together. You will need to have, you know, a program like Adobe, like Lightroom or Photoshop. But say if I wanted to get some of this farm valley in one shot, I would just take some vertical shots, overlap them by 30 to 50% from one another, and I got myself a nice little pano. And like I said earlier, this is a great portrait lens. I had my wife take some photos of me out in the backyard. So here I am at 50 mils on the lens, and then I had my wife move further back so she could zoom way in to 200. And there you're gonna get more of a compressed look, bringing the background up close. And then I said, hey, let's get really close to my eyes and see how close we can get to some of that detail. And it's pretty cool. And then of course there was a hummingbird behind me, and I thought, all right, boom, let's capture this too. So pretty versatile. So a huge thank you to OM System for sponsoring this week's video and sending out this lens and camera body. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you aren't subscribed, and I hope to see you on the next episode. Ciao.